You ever feel like you're just constantly busy, but uh, still chasing your tail?
Oh, definitely.
Like
Yeah.
you're kind of drowning in this endless stream of information,
Yeah.
yet somehow feel more restless, maybe more unfocused than ever?
It's a real paradox, isn't it?
Yeah. We live in like the most connected time in history, yet for so many of us, it feels like we're more disconnected from ourselves.
Mhm.
Just overwhelmed by what one of our sources calls a never-ending flood of information.
It's a genuine struggle. And, our attention spans are really taking a hit from all the constant digital distractions.
Hmm.
There are studies showing that just having your smartphone in the room, even if it's turned off, can seriously hurt your concentration.
Wow, even off.
Even off. And the numbers, well, they don't lie. On average, Americans are clocking nearly 11 hours a day in front of digital screens.
11 hours?
Yeah. That leaves very little non-screen time for, quiet reflection.
That sets up the problem space perfectly, doesn't it?
Uh.
And it leads us right into today's deep dive. We're looking at an analog system specifically designed for this hyper-digital age we're in, the bullet journal method.
That's right.
Our mission today really is to unpack it's incredibly powerful framework. We want to show you how it masterfully combines things like productivity, mindfulness, and intentionality.
Intentionality.
Help you cut through all that noise and finally, hopefully, focus on what truly matters.
And for this deep dive, we're drawing exclusively from one key source, the bullet journal method, by its inventor, Ryder Carroll.
Right.
It's a really comprehensive guide. It's much more than just a how-to. It gets into the philosophy, the system itself, and the practice behind why this acclaimed method is, well, so effective for so many people.
Okay, so let's really dig into why we even need a better system. I mean, beyond that digital deluge we just touched on, there's this kind of fascinating productivity paradox. Despite all our incredible technology, productivity growth in advanced economies has actually slowed down since 2005.
Yeah, it slowed. And the U.S. even saw a decrease back in 2016.
It feels completely counterintuitive.
It really does. So many of us feel overwhelmed by what the book calls multitasking madness, just constantly trying to squeeze everything in. It's like we're all sort of Frankensteining our productivity, patching together Post-its, various apps, emails, into this one unwieldy mess.
That sounds familiar.
And it leads to so much wasted mental energy, just deliberating where information should go or trying frantically to find it later. And that really contributes to what psychologists call decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's why some highly successful people, like President Obama, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, they intentionally limit their daily choices. Things like what clothes to wear.
Just to save brain power.
Precisely, to conserve their mental energy for the much more important decisions they have to make.
That really hits home for so many of us, I think. And this feeds directly into what the book calls the busy trap.
The busy trap, yeah.
Where being busy often feels like code for being functionally overwhelmed.
Functionally overwhelmed. That's a good way to put it.
We're working hard, sure, but it can feel empty sometimes. Like we might be, climbing the wrong mountain, driven by these hidden motivations we haven't even stopped to examine.
And this is exactly where intentionality becomes so crucial. A central idea in the bullet journal philosophy is that intentional living is the art of making our own choices before others' choices make us.
Ooh, I like that.
The whole system is designed to help you step back, actually look at your experiences, and then learn what's truly in your control, what's genuinely meaningful, and importantly, what's actually worthy of your precious attention.
Okay, let's unpack where this whole thing came from.
Yeah.
The origin story of the bullet journal is actually quite personal.
Very personal.
Ryder Carroll developed it as a solution to his own pretty significant organizational challenges. He describes it as this unique hybrid part planner, part diary.
Notebook, to-do list.
To-do list and even sketchbook all rolled into one.
He was essentially trying to figure out organizational tricks that embraced the way my mind worked, as he puts it, rather than trying to force his brain into some rigid, pre-made system that just didn't fit.
Makes sense.
And initially he felt incredibly vulnerable sharing what he candidly called his crutches invented to support a faulty brain.
Wow, crutches. So Ryder, feeling vulnerable, he finally shows this very personal system to a friend. What was it about that awkward tutorial, as he calls it, that made his friend just instantly realize this was something special, something that had to be shared?
Well, apparently his friend's reaction was immediate and just crystal clear. You have to share this with people.
Just like that.
Just like that. And Ryder soon found others, designers, developers, project managers, accountants, all sort of fielding these shy questions about his unique notebook. He quickly realized that his personal solutions to these very common organizational challenges were actually widely applicable.
So it wasn't just him.
No, not at all. And that realization led him to formalize and really streamline the system, stripping away anything that wasn't absolutely essential. And in doing that, he effectively invented its unique language, its specific vocabulary.
The language.
Yeah, and that's what made it so much easier to explain and, importantly, for others to learn and adopt.
Which brings us to a really fundamental question, I think. Why go analog? In a world just saturated with digital tools, why is pen and paper so powerful here when we have endless apps right at our fingertips?
It's a great question. And it's not just about, a nostalgic preference. There's actually compelling research behind the power of handwriting.
Okay.
A University of Washington study, for instance, showed that elementary students who wrote essays by hand were more likely to write full sentences and, interestingly, actually learned to read faster.
Faster reading, too.
Yeah. And what's really fascinating is that the physical act of handwriting seems to stimulate multiple brain regions simultaneously, which seems to imprint what we learn on a deeper level. There was another study involving college students. It found that those who took lecture notes by hand consistently tested better. They retained information longer than the students who typed their notes.
Wow, so it's actual, brain science at play. It's not just what you write, but how you write it down.
Exactly. The physical act mattered.
And this is why the bullet journal offers what Ryder calls an analog refuge. It's a dedicated space, right, for focus and clarity, physically removed from those digital distractions, helping you define what truly matters.
Precisely. It's about carving out that vital space where your mind can actually breathe and think without the constant barrage of interruptions.
Okay, let's dive into the nuts and bolts then, the system itself. The actual building blocks that transform a simple notebook into this powerful organizational tool. The method really has two core parts, the system and the practice. Let's tackle the system first.
Okay, so at its heart, the system uses something called rapid logging.
Rapid logging?
Yeah, it's essentially a notation system. It pairs short-form entries with really simple symbols. The basic bullets are an open dot for a task.
Okay, dot for task.
An open circle for an event.
Circle for event.
And just a simple dash for a note, like an observation or an idea.
Dot, circle, dash. Simple enough.
Very simple. And then you add what are called signifiers to those bullets for quick, at-a-glance context.
Signifiers, okay.
So you can mark a task as complete with an X. If you move a task to a different date or log, you use a symbol, meaning migrated.
Like an arrow pointing forward.
Exactly. If you schedule it for later, like in your future log, you use a symbol.
Arrow pointing back, sort of?
Kind of. And if a task becomes irrelevant, you just strike it through, a simple line through it.
Got it. X, aka strike through.
Right. And what's really ingenious about writing down tasks this way is its dual purpose. First, it actively engages your mind because of something called the Zeigarnik effect.
Zeigarnik effect?
Yeah, it's that psychological hook. It makes your brain kind of cling to unfinished tasks until they're complete.
Ah, okay.
And second, it creates this tangible archive for later reflection.
Right, the archive. That becomes incredibly valuable, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. When you look back at your notebook days, months, even years later, you have this clear record of what you were working on, what you were thinking, why you made certain decisions. It really paints a picture of your journey.
So the system itself is built around these key collections, which are like the modular building blocks of your bullet journal, right?
Exactly. Modular is a good word for it.
So what are the main ones?
Well, the daily log is undoubtedly the workhorse. It's designed for real-time capture, capturing your daily thoughts, tasks, observations as they happen. Its topic is simply the date.
Just the date.
Just the date. Think of it as like a mental dumping ground, a catch-all. It lets your mind instantly unburden itself of all those swirling thoughts, freeing up mental bandwidth you didn't even realize you were wasting.
Well, it's way more than just a to-do list.
Oh, much more. It documents your experiences, providing that rich context for more deliberate actions later. And you just let it expand as much as that particular day needs. Some days are short, some are long.
Okay, daily log, Then there's the monthly log.
Right, the monthly log. This gives you that bird's eye view of the current month's time and tasks. It functions kind of like a monthly mental inventory.
Mental inventory.
Yeah, it's where you can offload items, schedule things for the month, and crucially, transfer any open, unfinished tasks from the previous month. This is how the system makes sure important tasks don't just slip through the cracks.
Gotcha. So daily is the catch-all. Monthly is the overview and task management. What about things further out, like way down the road?
For anything that falls outside the current month, you use the future log.
Future log.
So if it's, say, September, and you have a deadline or an appointment in December, that goes into the future log. This log lives right at the front of your journal, typically just after the index. In practice, the flow is usually capture everything in your daily log first. Then, during maybe a brief daily or weekly reflection, you transfer those future-dated bullets to your future log, marking them as scheduled with that symbol in your daily log.
Right, connecting it all. And speaking of the index, you mentioned it's at the front. How does that work?
Yeah, the index is brilliant, actually. It combines a traditional table of contents with a traditional index. It keeps all your different collections and important pages organized and easily accessible.
Makes sense for finding stuff?
But it also doubles as what Ryder calls a table of context. It shows you visually how you're actually investing your time and energy across different topics or projects.
Context, okay.
Which helps you focus on what's truly worthy of your yes. Because remember, for everything you say yes to, you're implicitly saying no to something else.
That's a powerful reminder. This brings up an interesting point, though. What about related stuff? Like if you have notes on a project on page 10, but then more notes on page 50, and maybe even more on page 160, how do you link those together if they aren't consecutive?
Great question. That's where a technique called threading comes in.
Threading?
Yeah, it's a simple technique, actually inspired by software engineering. It connects related content across scattered pages just by noting the page numbers next to each instance.
How does that look?
So for your example, on page 50, next to the relevant entry, you might write 10 to link back and maybe 160 to link forward. Then on page 160, you'd write 50 to link back. It creates a thread through the notebook.
Like a simple page number?
Simple page numbers. And you can even use it in your current index to link to content in previous notebooks, creating a thread across your entire journaling history.
That's clever. So, so many productivity systems, they let your to-do list just balloon until they're completely overwhelming. You just feel crushed by them. How does the bullet journal specifically prevent that kind of list fatigue? How does it help you re-engage with what's actually important?
That's where migration comes in. And this isn't just like busy work. It's honestly one of the most powerful and unique insights of the whole system.
Migration. Okay, tell me more.
Migration is when you transfer content from one place to another, say from an old daily log to a new monthly log, by physically rewriting it.
Rewriting it, not just checking a box.
Exactly. And that effort of rewriting serves a really critical purpose. It weeds out distractions. It acts as a filter.
How so?
Well, the idea is if an entry isn't worth the few seconds of effort it takes to rewrite it, then it's probably not that important. And maybe you should just cross it off, get rid of it. If it is still relevant, then you migrate it to your new monthly log or maybe your future log, and you mark the old entry as migrated using that symbol.
So it's like a built-in active relevance check.
Precisely. A relevance check and a distraction filter, all rolled into one. It forces you to pause and consciously consider each commitment before carrying it forward.
That is genuinely a game changer. Okay, so that's the underlying system, the structure. Now that we've explored the nuts and bolts that transform the notebook, let's pivot. Let's talk about maybe the most profound aspect. How this method actively helps shape a more deliberate, more intentional life. This is where the practice really comes alive, right?
Absolutely. The practice is where the magic happens, you could say. And it often starts with decluttering your mind. There's a great exercise called the mental inventory.
Mental inventory.
Yeah, you just divide a page into 3 simple columns: working on, should be working on, and want to be working on.
Okay, working on, should be, want to be.
Then comes the crucial test. For each item you list, you ask 2 simple but powerful questions. First, does this matter?
Does it matter? To me.
Exactly. To you, or maybe to someone you love. And second, is this vital?
Vital like, gotta pay the rent.
Precisely. Rent, taxes, your job, basic survival stuff. If an item doesn't pass both of those tests, matter and vital, then the book argues it's essentially a distraction.
Ouch.
And it should be ruthlessly crossed off. Get it out of your mental space. This really mirrors Warren Buffett's famous advice to his pilot, Mike Flint.
Oh, yeah.
Buffett had him list his top 25 goals, circle the top 5, and then told him the other 20 instantly became his avoid at all costs list.
Wow. Avoid at all costs. That's strong.
It is, but it forces clarity.
This sounds like a really effective way to cut through all that mental clutter and maybe find what actually brings true meaning to your life. Because, we so often overestimate how happy achieving goals will actually make us. There's a term for that, right?
Yeah, it's called impact bias. We think getting the thing will bring massive happiness, but the feeling is often less intense or shorter lived than we predict.
Right.
And as Viktor Frankl wisely put it, true happiness cannot be pursued, it can only ensue. It's a byproduct of finding meaning.
A byproduct of meaning.
And one powerful concept related to meaning is the Japanese idea of ikigai. You might have heard of it from Okinawa.
Ikigai. Vaguely. What is it exactly?
It's often described as finding the intersection of what you're good at and what you love doing. Your reason for being, essentially. And the book suggests that meaning often reveals itself through a deep intuitive sense of feeling, what the ancient Greeks called phanestai, meaning to appear or to show itself.
So it's not something you force, but something you discover.
Exactly. And the bullet journal acts as a kind of living autobiography. It helps you track your decisions, your actions, your feelings over time, which in turn deepens your self-awareness and helps you discern what's truly meaningful for you.
How does that work in practice?
Ryder shares an example of someone he calls Michael S. By reviewing his past journal entries, Michael realized that a past relationship he'd been kind of romanticizing wasn't nearly as good as he'd remembered it.
The journal provided objective evidence.
Exactly. It gave him valuable perspective, grounded in his own documented experience.
It really is like having this compelling mirror for self-discovery right there on the page.
Right.
And this practice then becomes instrumental in setting truly intentional goals. Yeah. And taking achievable small steps towards them.
Right. Intentional goals provide genuine structure and purpose. They're different from those sort of reactionary goals we sometimes set based on fleeting desires or external pressures, which often end up disappointing us.
So how do you clarify those deeper intentional goals?
Well, one powerful exercise the book suggests is the 2 lives exercise.
2 lives?
Yeah. You basically write 2 obituaries for yourself. One describes a life lived on a well-worn path, choosing comfort over risk. The other describes a life on the path less traveled, choosing risk over comfort.
Whoa, that sounds intense.
It can be, but it's incredibly clarifying. It helps you identify what truly resonates as your aspiration, and then you can migrate those insights, those true accomplishments you want, into a dedicated goals collection in your journal.
Okay. And connected to this, you mentioned avoiding multitasking earlier.
Yes, absolutely key. The research suggests only about 2% of people can truly multitask effectively.
Only 2%?
Yep. For the rest of us, we're just microtasking, rapidly switching between things. And this creates what's called attention residue.
Attention residue. Like mental gunk left over.
Kind of. It's the mental baggage left behind from the previous task you were doing. And it actually slows down your cognitive performance on the next task.
So switching costs us.
Big time. The advice is simple, though maybe not easy. Focus on working on the fewest number of things possible at any given time.
Fewer things, more focus. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture of achieving goals, how does that work? You can't just do one tiny thing forever.
Right. So you break down those large intentional goals into smaller self-contained periods. Ryder calls these sprints.
Sprints, like in software development.
Exactly like that. Ideally, a sprint is under a month long. This approach helps mitigate that feeling of overwhelm when facing a huge goal, and it allows for consistent, regular progress, which is really motivating.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Ryder talks about his own experiment teaching himself stop-motion animation using sprints, and another example is Lei, who systematically built her yoga teaching practice through focused sprints. It makes big things manageable.
Manageable chunks. I like it.
And beyond sprints, the practice encourages cultivating curiosity, asking yourself small questions.
Small questions.
Yeah, like instead of, how do I get healthy? Ask something specific and small. What one unhealthy thing could I remove from my diet this week?
Makes it less daunting.
Exactly. It engages our natural problem-solving abilities without overwhelming us. This whole process of continuous improvement is really an iterative cycle. It's famously known as the Deming cycle.
Plan, do, check, act.
That's the one. Plan, do, check, act. So James Dyson, with his 5,126 vacuum prototypes, that's a pretty extreme example of this relentless pursuit of better perfect.
5,126. Wow. Okay, so iterate, improve. Don't aim for immediate perfection. This raises an important question for many of us, though. How do you deal with stuff you just can't control? Our lives are full of things outside our control.
That's a vital distinction the practice addresses. We can't control our feelings directly. We can't control other people. We can't control many external events.
Right.
But we can absolutely control our response to those things.
Okay, so how does the journal help with that?
Well, the book introduces a kind of quirky but useful method called the deer duck method.
Deer, duck, like a rubber duck.
Literally. Or any trusted entity, real or imagined. The idea is to write a letter to this duck, safely venting your frustrations and thoughts about a challenging situation.
Why a duck?
It's about externalizing, getting your thoughts straight on paper, explaining the problem to this neutral party. Often, just the act of articulating it helps you gain perspective and see opportunities or solutions that were previously obscured by emotion.
Interesting. Just writing it out helps. And, our actions, our responses, they naturally ripple out into the world, don't they? They affect others around us. Ryder calls this concept radiance, I think.
That's right, radiance. Cultivating self-awareness, which the bullet journal consistently facilitates, allows us to build on our strengths and consciously address our weaknesses.
And that creates better ripples.
Exactly. It helps you create positive energy that affects others. As the author Seth Godin says, you're either the person who creates energy, or you're the one who destroys it.
Create or destroy.
And this self-awareness also naturally leads to self-compassion, instead of beating yourself up over mistakes or setbacks.
Which is easy to do.
Very easy. You learn to practice self-kindness. A simple technique is to ask yourself, what would I tell a friend in this exact situation?
Oh, I love that. It's such a simple but powerful shift in perspective.
It really is. And there's another log, the clarity log, designed to help reframe even mundane tasks.
Clarity log. How does that work?
You focus on the positive experiences that the mundane task enables. So doing laundry isn't just chores. It enables fluffy towels. Paying rent isn't just an expense. It secures a happy, safe home.
Connecting the task to the benefit.
Exactly. It helps you understand the underlying value and impact of your actions, shifting your perspective from obligation to appreciation.
That's useful. What about tackling bigger problems, things that feel really stuck?
For that, there's a technique called deconstruction, which uses Sakichi Toyota's famous 5 whys.
The 5 whys. I've heard of that in, manufacturing.
Yeah, Toyota uses it. You simply ask why to 5 times to drill down and uncover the root cause of a problem rather than just dealing with the symptoms.
Can you give an example from the book?
Ryder talks about using it to understand his own challenging job situation. Asking why repeatedly helped him realize the root issue wasn't the job itself, but a mismatch with his values, which ultimately led him to find a new, more fulfilling career in web design.
So you use the challenge itself to find the way forward.
Exactly. Use your dragon, as the book says, against itself. What stands in the way becomes the way.
I like that framing. And finally, the practice seems to really embrace imperfection, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. As Leonard Cohen famously sang, there is a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in.
Beautiful line.
It's about reframing our response to mistakes.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing them as failures, you learn to embrace them as street signs.
Street signs.
Yeah, pointing you towards areas for growth and continual improvement. It aligns really well with the Japanese aesthetic philosophy of wabi-sabi.
Wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection.
Exactly. Beauty and wisdom in imperfection, impermanence, and incompleteness. Ryder tells this humorous story about making disastrous handmade gnocchi.
Oh, gnocchi disaster.
Total disaster. But the point wasn't the perfect meal. The real value was the gesture, the effort, the time spent together. That was the meaningful part, not the lumpy pasta.
That's a great relatable example. Okay, so once you've got the core system down and you've started cultivating this intentional practice, then the real creativity can begin, right? This leads us to the art of bullet journaling, how you truly make it your own.
Exactly. And the core principle here is always function over form.
Function over form. So it doesn't have to be pretty.
Nope. Your notebook definitely doesn't have to be beautiful to be valuable. Design should always serve a purpose. If it happens to be beautiful too, that's great, a bonus. As long as the prettiness doesn't get in the way of its actual utility.
Right. Don't spend more time decorating than doing.
Precisely. And Ryder stresses that good design should also be future-proof. meaning you should be able to look back at them years later and still easily understand what they mean.
Makes sense. So this is where you can create those custom collections for absolutely anything you want to track or plan.
Anything at all. Planning a vacation, tracking books read, project notes, habit tracking, whatever is useful to you. And interestingly, research shows that even just the anticipation of fun events, like planning a trip in your journal, can significantly elevate your mood.
Now that's cool. Planning happiness.
Kind of. And within these custom collections, you can define your deeper motivation with a clear mission statement. The book suggests a format. I want to what, so that I can why by how.
What, why, how?
And you can even use those 5 whys we talked about to dig deeper into the why. Why do you really want that vacation? Maybe it uncovers deeper themes like feeling confined or bored or lonely, which you can then address more directly.
That's deep. So for practical design, for clarity within these custom collections, what works best?
Lists remain the core design pattern. Simple, effective lists. But you can easily add context.
How so?
For example, in a travel itinerary list, you could add simple signifiers like T for time, L for location, dollars for estimated cost next to each item.
Ah, quick context keys.
Exactly. These simple additions help you make incredibly informed choices just by glancing at the page.
And what about dedicated trackers? How do they fit in?
Trackers are really insightful when used in conjunction with your daily logs. They help you understand not just what is or isn't working, but more importantly, why.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Maybe you're tracking gym visits. Your daily log might provide context, like you skipped the gym because you were exhausted after a poor night's sleep. Or maybe you track spending, and your daily log reveals the emotional trigger for an impulse purchase.
So you see the patterns of cause and effect.
Precisely. It helps you become aware, for instance, that maybe your weight loss was actually due to dietary changes noted in your daily log, not just the exercise you were tracking. It cultivates that powerful self-awareness and helps you make true, data-driven progress based on your reality.
It makes a lot of sense. And you're not alone on this journey, are you? The bullet journal community seems huge and very creative.
Oh, it's massive and incredibly supportive. The method itself really thrives on diverse and inventive interpretations. People share their insights, their customized methods, like Eddie Hope's well-known Calendex, which is a clever twist on indexing.
Calendex saga.
It just means you always have a resource if you're facing a creative block or a specific organizational challenge you haven't figured out yet.
Yeah.
There's likely someone in the community who has tackled something similar.
That's great to know. Community support is huge.
Definitely. If you ever feel stuck or don't quite know how to adapt the system for your specific needs, chances are good you can find inspiration and practical tips from others online.
Okay, so to kind of wrap things up here, this deep dive has really shown how the bullet journal method isn't just another system for organizing your tasks. It feels much more like a profound tool for, well, self-discovery and truly intentional living.
I think that's right. It really empowers you to reclaim a sense of agency over your own life, primarily by cultivating self-awareness, helping you discern what holds true meaning for you, and then enabling you to act with clear intention.
Yeah. As Ryder Carroll suggests, the method can act as this compelling mirror, helping you see how much power you actually already possess.
And remember that ancient wisdom, often attributed to Marcus Aurelius, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. It's a stark reminder to focus on what matters.
Powerful. Or, maybe more simply, as Ryder puts it, if you don't dare to try something new, even something small, it will assuredly never exist.
Sure enough, you have to take the first step.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. What small, intentional step could you take tomorrow? How could you daringly, as the book puts it, apply just one of these insights and begin to chart your own course towards a more focused, more intentional life?